Hey, one of the extra special treats about hunting in Africa is you get to run into different hunters with different firearms and sort of sample and test things. And they really are special when your PH has one, because these guys are doing this every day and they have specific needs in their rifles. And on this trip here with Immenhof Safaris, we have their head guide, their chief PH professional hunter, Werner von Seidlitz, with whom I have hunted several times. But this trip, he is working with a kind of a test rifle to help the manufacturer improve the design. Is that the idea?
So this is the Dakota Professional Hunter, which Park West is now innovating into the bushveld rifle for us as professional hunters. And what a pleasure that is to be testing that in the field and giving some advice on what we as professional hunters think would be a good idea on the day-to-day use of a professional hunting rifle.
So you've been carrying it on some hunts? Have you been shooting game with it?
I've been carrying it on this last hunt, and we've really had good fun with it, hunting an elephant, a buffalo, hippo, and it really produced, and that is what we wanted. We saw.
Now, wait a minute. I want to stop you right there. When you say it really produced, you're not shooting at these animals, and yet you are shooting at these animals. How does that work?
So we as professional hunters only shoot in situations where it's really needed to. So we wouldn't use a gun if it's not needed. If we feel that the first shot was not good enough, only then we will do a backup shot.
So obviously most people know that you're going to back them up if there's a charge. You're going to be covering our backs for us. But also if there's an animal that's going to likely get away. Like you don't want a leopard suddenly to get away, or an elephant, or any of the big animals, right?
That's correct. So that's the only time we will be using the gun as a backup.
So have you used it on this?
I've used it on this, on the hippo as a second shot when it got away, which I was very impressed with the penetration of the solid that we used, the 450 Rigby.
Oh, that's what this is chambered in, the 450 Rigby?
Rigby, yeah.
That is not a well-known cartridge. Oh, yeah.
So
well, it's fairly short.
Very short, good penetration, a lot of power.
Rimless?
Rimless, and it went all the way from the rump to the neck. That's where we found the tip of the...
The bullet?
Yeah.
What's the bullet?
It's a Barnes X, solid.
A solid, Barnes solid, okay.
450 Rigby, in caliber 450 Rigby.
Now, 450 Rigby. Folks, I don't know a lot about the 450 Rigby, but it came out, I think, in the middle of the 1990s. That's how recent it is. You usually don't see innovations in big bores. You know, people are used to shooting the old ones, the 470 Nitro Express and the 450 400s and 375 H&H and all that. So this is fairly modern, but it does remind me of the 450 Dakota, because Dakota took the 416 Rigby and they necked it up. And this looks like the same system. 450 Rigby.
Just amazing. What to use?
What weight was the bullet?
500 grain bullet.
Okay.
And the penetration, as we retrieved it, was just amazing to see how perfect that bullet came out, and that it kept its line going through this magnificent big animal.
It was the hippo, you said?
The hippo, yeah. So that was amazing from the rump.
It was running away, and your bullet got from the rump
all the way to the neck.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, that is some significant penetration.
Yeah, that's quite a good penetration.
All right. So, in using that rifle, then, what features did you like, and which features would you improve for the folks that are building
What would improve on this rifle is that the rear sight, that we would need an indicator, which I think is just for the visibility a good thing, than a bigger pin up front. So as you raise the rifle, you've got a perfect, clear indication, which is on most of the dangerous game, they're darker animals, and it just gives you a good indication.
So you've got a gold bead front sight now.
That's correct.
That's okay, but you want it a little bit larger.
A little bit larger.
And now by indicator, what do you mean on your rear sight indicator?
Rear sight, here's an indicator here, which just needs to be filled out, like a middle line.
Oh, that little line right in the middle. You want that white or silver or something?
Would be a good indicator.
Okay.
And then what I really found amazing, so that is just a backup. The red dot from Vortex that we used was such a great reference and quick reference.
You like that?
Red dot on the animal as you pick up the rifle, line of sight, perfect. What we found on the bolt action, that for us, it would be a bit on the smaller side. I would like it to have a more of an angle maybe, or be a bit bigger, that when you reload the gun that you've got a nice grip on that.
So a little larger bolt handle, knob. Okay.
It's a very smooth mechanism, very quiet, very smooth, perfect trigger. What is very nice on this gun is that, and the bushveld, that it's going to have 4 bullets in the magazine, 1 up the barrel, which I think is something we need. Is we've got that backup of having enough ammunition in the magazine.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the weight, the balance, the idea of this is, for us as professional hunters, is really amazing. We would like to have a ring mount as the
a swivel?
swivel.
You want a sling on this rifle?
Sling, yes.
So we often hear that PHs don't want slings on their rifles because they get in the way, in the brush and stuff.
So we as professional hunters, or me personally, on my note, I would love to have a sling on a rifle, because normally in the final stalk, you've got a shooting stick, you've got your binoculars, you want to be looking at the animal. Oh, yeah. You can always take it off. If you're going into a tight situation, you can take it off your gun and put it in your pocket or give it to your tracker and have the rifle without any sling. But when you're doing long distances, your shoulder is going to be feeling it.
Yep.
You're going to be uncomfortable.
You can't use your binocular. You got to hang out of that rifle.
It has nothing to do with macho man. I think you want to be comfortable in long distance tracking, going into game and having your hands free while looking at the animal, which I think is very important. And like I said, you can always easily take it off, hand it over when you're going into a tight situation.
So it would have then a traditional sling stud in the rear?
Yeah. The sling stud in the rear and the ring
up front. Okay.
Ring up front, which I think is nice, that you don't have anything on the bottom of your buds or on your stock. I mean,
yeah, you don't want to get your hands on a sling stud there.
Your hand is in a free move, so you can quickly move up front, work your bolts. I love the double safety. That again, every professional hunter has his personal reference or things he loves. I love the double safety. I've always been using it. I started with Winchesters, and it doesn't mean it's the fabrica, but get used to what you're going to be using and the thick stuff.
Now, when you say get used to using, people argue about whether you need the bolt action with 4 rounds or the side-by-side double with 2 quick rounds. You're obviously carrying bolt actions, not side-by-side doubles.
That's correct. So I was told by my dad that use what you're used to. When you go into a dangerous situation, take the gun or the mechanism that you're used to. If somebody has grown up with a double barrel or has been shooting his shotgun, I think he should stick with it. There's nothing wrong. It's not about that this one is better than the other. I think for my personal use, I like a bolt action. I've been working at bolt action since I've started hunting, and it is just a natural instinct that I would know what to do.
And you're pretty quick, I would imagine.
I would imagine. But for somebody that is used to his double, he might be the quickest with a double, and I fully agree with that. I would never say anything against a professional hunter with his traditional double.
Now, it seems to me, when I've been over hunting, most of my PHs are carrying bolt actions. I don't see doubles all that often, every once in a while. So I can understand why, because you're probably using it for hunting plains game in a 30-06 or any of the other common. So you're used to the bolt, so that all makes sense. Now, any other changes or improvements that you would suggest for this new rifle they're going to make out of this?
No, I think we've got it covered.
Barrel length?
Barrel length, that is correct. I would prefer a shorter barrel, maybe
I was wondering about
2
that.
inches shorter than this one is. Which I think with the maneuverability when you're going into a thick brush and when you're stalking, I think it's just a nicer thing for me personally, having a shorter barrel on it, and gives you more maneuverability. And even for those who might like a different balance, have a thicker barrel on there, but that's personal preference.
But you definitely don't want a scope on your backup rifle,
no,
right?
I wouldn't like one. There are many that would say yes, they have a scope on it. I prefer to have it without a scope.
Yeah.
That's just, again, a personal reference.
Now, you're liking, I would imagine, the controlled round feet action.
Yeah. So I really like it. It's very smooth, rustic, and especially for Africa, that is what I think.
Kind of the standard, isn't it?
Good standard. Okay.
Do you think you need any kind of recoil reduction things? I know that a lot of places will put mercury tubes in or tungsten tubes to reduce recoil. Do you guys ever fool around with that?
I've got this one and it didn't have it, but I find it's not a bad thing to have, especially if you might think of having a thicker barrel on there with a mercury tube in the back to get a nice balance and to have less recoil.
Mm-hmm.
When I shot with it, it was as smooth as can be.
Oh, really?
I really didn't. I should have shot a lot of big calibers, and this 450 Rigby really was amazing to shoot with. And
even with a 500 grain bullet.
that's correct.
He's a little guy, so he can handle recoil.
Yeah.
So you think that'll probably solve it for you then?
That would be so. And then what I also found amazing, you've got the Rigby and the TSX, which I think for your softer skulled or animals, this might be a good option. But for us as backup, typically
You typically use the solids.
solids, yeah.
Yeah, I have found, I've taken, I think, 3 buffalo with, two with my wife took one and I took one with the TSX bullet, the hollow point Barnes. And my PH at the time said, oh, that's a great bullet because it's a soft point and a solid in the same bullet.
That's what I agree. So if you would have as a second option to a solid, it's again on what people prefer. On a buffalo, the TSX would be way better. I think on a hippo just as well.
Well,
They are softer in the skin and the structure that you're having. But for the shot we had, if you want max penetration,
yeah.
I
Back
think it's solid. So it depends on what animal you're going to hunt. And
I think as the client rather than the PH, you would be well served with the hollow point because you're getting the expansion, you're getting more blood hemorrhaging done, and you've got your backup right there, and that's you.
so I would recommend the TSX for clients.
And one that I've used in my last 2 was a similar bullet. It's called a Hammer Hunter. I don't know if you've seen any over here yet, but wow, I'm really impressed.
I've now seen it with you, and we had it on the buffalo hunt.
Yeah.
And what an amazing penetration we had, and the destruction it did in the body was really amazing.
Yeah.
I could just, especially in the grainage of being a 270 in grains, it really went all the way through the buffalo, and the buffalo didn't go far.
Yeah.
I was really amazed that hammer is doing what it should.
Yeah, it seems to hammer them.
Getting out of it is amazing.
Yeah, that's the neat thing that I told you about. I'm getting 200 feet per second more speed than the book says I should get. So that's pretty impressive. Haven't tried one in a 45 yet, but it'd be fun to do. Maybe someday
Maybe
you
you
can
should do it again.
Yeah, I think maybe so. All right. Anything to add, Werner? You're going to give all this information to Park West Arms, and they will or may not, but when are they thinking of coming out with this new model of rifle?
The new model should be out in the next year convention in Dallas.
Okay.
We should see the first example. Hopefully it's going to be mine.
You probably have dibs on it.
I can't wait to use my Park West bushveld in the 450 Rigby. I think I'm going to have a lot of good backups with that. And it's going to be fun hunting with the guys from Park West for the future.
You're a cool guy. Hey, folks, there you go, straight from the horse's mouth. If you can't trust a PH who makes his living doing what he's doing about what the firearms work over here, I don't know who you can trust. Certainly not me. No. Hey, thanks for tuning in. We'll try to bring you some more stuff from Africa before we get out of here. If you are thinking of having a hunt in Africa, man, don't hesitate. Get a hold of someone like Werner here at Immenhof Safaris and just ask him any questions you have about coming over here, what's all involved to go on a hunt. It's way easier than you might think. It's less expensive than a lot of North American hunts for the big game like moose and elk and such. And you are going to have absolutely a delightful time. These folks really know how to take care of you. In addition, they have way more wildlife than we ever see in the United States of America. Hey, until next time, this is Ron Spomer. We'll see you. Hunt honest and shoot straight.